What do you think was the most kind of funniest story you have working with 50? You know, or just something that stands out?
That he like all of us. He's just like he's this is all like a kid at Christmas time. You know, he smiles, he laughs. We all joke around about this. It's with us, he's Curtis. To the rest of the world, he's 50. With us, he's Curtis. He's this kid from Queens who feels like, you know, for lack of a better way to put it, he stepped in shit like all of us. You know, it's been through hard work and it's been through a lot of dedication. But you know, he's a kid at heart, man, and that's what we get to see. We get when we're interacting with him, we get to see Curtis, the kid from Queens. We don't see 50. We don't see the guy that everybody else sees. He's got game, man. He's got game. He's smart. He's intelligent. You know, he has good people around him, and he embraces all of us as we do him. I've been an actor for 36, 37 years. He's been doing his rap game and whatever, but he's in Omari's world, he's in Joe's world. So he's learning from us as much as we're all basking in a little bit of his light. You know, he's learning from us as much as we're learning from him. And he's learning from Courtney, who did The Good Wife. Courtney Campagbo was a showrunner on The Good Wife, a producer. And so he's learning from everybody as much as we're learning from him. He's brilliant at marketing, and he's teaching us and teaching me a little bit about that. You know, as we're teaching him a little bit about being in the moment, trusting yourself, trusting your work, trusting what you've worked on, and trusting that you have these characters in you, that you don't have to go looking for it, you know?
Well, speaking of marketing, what do you think about the shots that 50 took at Empire?
The shot, I think it was all in fun. I think it got blown out of proportion as what happens with, you know, it happens in the hip hop world, it happens in the Black and Latino entertainment business. Little things get taken a little bit out of context, and I think it just got taken a little bit out of context. Look, what's good for Empire is good for Power, and what's good for Power is good for Empire. Think about this. Think about the fact that Empire and between Empire and Power, there's as much work for Black people on television right now as there's ever been. These casts are very heavily Black and Latino casts with a little bit of like other cultures mixed in. That's big, and that's something to be embraced. That's not something to like allow media or people to create a war about, as in the hip hop world. There's no thing here. We got a lot of love for them and they have a lot of love for us, so that's a good thing. It's a good thing what's happening now. And if what 50 said drew a little bit of attention to it, so be it.
I don't feel that either show borrows from the other at all.
You're right, Vlad. I think you're right. I watch both shows too. I'm big fans. Those are people that I've worked with. I know them, and I know their work. As they watch our show, I'm sure they watched our show. We keep tabs on each other. Blacks and Latinos keep tabs on each other, man, especially the ones that are in the business. You know, we work in a business that 95% of the people in it are unemployed most of the time. We're in that little 5 percentile now that's working all the time. And we keep an eye on each other, so we know. And I think you're right. I think he did do it on purpose, and it certainly drew a lot of attention to both projects, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, 50 said that Empire is like Glee with a little bit of hip hop.
Yeah, Empire's got a wonderful dynamic to it. It gives you a little bit of insight into the behind the scenes world of what goes on in terms of the power struggle. In the music industry, in particular the hip hop world.
Yep.
I think the characters are developing and evolving, very much like the characters in Power. The characters in Power are developing and are evolving, and you'll see more and more of that as we get to season 2 with Power. Season 2 with Power, let me tell you something, Vlad. This is gonna, like the first episode of the 2nd season is worthy of a season finale. It's that good.
Well, Taraji P. Henson actually responded. Did you actually see that?
Yeah, I did.
You know, someone asked her, I guess, on Twitter, how do you feel about 50 Cent saying that about you and Terrence Howard? She said, I pay attention to dollars, not cents.
It was hilarious, and all in, I think to some degree they both kind of were winking off camera. You know, I think it was all in good fun.
You know, when you mentioned that with Power and Empire being on TV, this is the most work that Blacks and Latinos have gotten ever. Like, that to me is mind-blowing. There's 100-something shows on at any given time, you know, among all the different networks and so forth, and 2 shows is the height of Black and Latino employment in Hollywood?
There was a time when there have been other shows that, you know, when during the height of Black half-hour comedies, Rock, Living Single, Martin, all those shows were on television at the same time. Those were big, man. That was a big time. That was a wonderful time for Black and Latino actors because there was a lot of employment. That hasn't happened in some time. And, you know, I may or may not be accurate in terms of the fact that these shows are employing, I am accurate in the fact that these shows are employing a lot of people. There's other shows. There's Shonda Rhimes' show, Scandal, which has some of our people in it. But this is a good time. This is a good time. There's a network, you know, Mr. Rodriguez is starting a network for Latinos with Latino-specific programming. That's a big thing. The wonderful thing, the thing about Power for me and it being shot in New York is that, unlike in other parts of the country, I traveled around the country, Blacks and Latinos in New York City grow up together, you know, especially up in the projects and in the inner city. That's something that a lot of people don't see. There's a trust thing, you know, you see Ghost in the very first time that you see Ruiz, and they're talking, they're conferring, and it might seem unusual to some people, but in New York City, it's something that's unique to New York. Black and Latinos grow up together. We intermarry. We know about each other's cultures. We know about each other's lives and families. It is a unique thing that is, I don't see that in other parts.
Yeah, in LA, the Mexicans stick with the Mexicans, and the Blacks, you know, stick with the Blacks, and you know, the Blacks and Mexicans really don't hang too tough with each other.
No, they don't. They don't. The races don't mix, and that's also seems to be the case in other parts of the country. And I found that, I think for me, that was startling. That was like kind of like when I first left New York at 18 and started going around the country. I was kind of like, wow, this is. In New York, you grow up, you learn about Jewish culture, you learn about Russian culture, Korean, Japanese, Chinese. You learn to distinguish between Asian cultures, you learn to distinguish between Latino cultures. That's not the case in other parts of the country. And I think that's something that's very unique to Power, how the races intermingle. And people that are not from New York might find that rather curious, but that's what New York's about. It's the intermingling of races and how they cooperate and deal with each other. You got a problem with somebody or with race in New York City, you're gonna wind up having to deal with it sooner or later. Whether you're a cop, whether you're an EMS worker, whether you're an actor, whatever, you're gonna wind up dealing with it. And that's the wonderful thing about New York.
How do you feel overall about how Latinos are represented in Hollywood?
I don't think it's always, you got to think about the people that are writing these shows are sometimes a little bit isolated themselves. Through no fault of their own, they're writing these shows out in LA. So what they see and what they know of Latino culture is what they read in the newspaper, the people that come to their homes to take care of their children or garden for them. You know, so their experience is a little bit limited, which is why in these writing rooms, it's important to have people of color, be they Blacks or Latinos, in these rooms when you begin to bring in these types of characters, or talk to the actors, talk to them. You know, I tell Courtney and I confer all the time when we're working on Power. What do you think about this? And when they send me the writing, sometimes I'll tell Courtney, this might be a little bit inaccurate. This might not be what a Puerto Rican guy from New York, how we may communicate. And they're very open to that. And they're learning as much as I'm learning. The way that Latinos are represented all the time in LA, it's tough. It's tough sometimes to deal with because, you know, we're lawyers, we're doctors, we're firemen, we're policemen. I think those insights are important. But you also have to get Blacks and Latinos in those rooms to write those shows.
Man, I wasn't surprised. Have you ever been in a rap group?
No, I have not.
It was one of the most impossible things to do. And for somebody to be in anywhere in music that long, man, that's amazing, man.
Like I just told y'all, when you own your shit, there's nothing else to say. It's the Eminem and 8 Mile theory. At the end of 8 Mile, Eminem got on that microphone, said everything that guy possibly could say bad about him. He owned his shit, and the guy couldn't even say anything.